It's officially official. Halloween is coming back to the Disneyland Resort. And Oogie Boogie and friends are ready to celebrate when two holidays collide. But slow down, you're not haunting yet, because there's a whole lot of summer left at the Disneyland Resort. Celebrating anniversaries, questionable decisions by staffing, and whatever they call this happening in Tomorrowland. We're halfway to Christmas and I'm all the way there on being excited. The holidays will be here before we know it. All the more reason to slow down and look at everything new that's happening at the Disneyland Resort. Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Ricky here. It's your weekly update. Friends, welcome back to the Disneyland Resort. Where I'm happy to report that Oogie Boogie's Bash is returning for 23 nights over the month of September and October, kicking off on September 6th and running all the way to Halloween on October 31st. Tickets will be going on sale this Tuesday, June 28th, no earlier than 9 a.m. for Magic Key holders and members of D23. This year can purchase tickets to their own exclusive night taking place on Saturday, September 10th. That's the Saturday when D23 is happening here in Anaheim. Ticket prices started as low as $129, but different nights have different values. I'm going to tell you right now, this is the best time of the year to visit Disney's California Adventure, because simply put, this is the absolute best after hours, after dark party that Disneyland puts on. It really is the benchmark for what an after hours evening event should be. The treat trails are amazing. You can get a ton of candy. There's lots of entertainment. There's a soundscape that goes across the entire park, and Villains Grove is one of the best attractions. In a night that celebrates the dead and the undead, you'll feel like you've gone to Disney's heaven. I cannot recommend enough taking place over at Oogie Boogie's Bash, and the Halloween celebrations don't stop at the gates of DCA. Disneyland has its own fair share of Halloween classics that will be returning again.
So friends, a little food for thought for you. As everybody's excited that Disney announced of all of the Halloween offerings are coming back, my question is this: if this is how long the line for the Haunted Mansion is due to Lightning Lane, can you imagine how long this line will be once it's the holiday overlay, right? I mean, Magnolia Park used to only get flooded out during Christmas and Halloween, and now we're seeing it getting flooded out just on a regular Thursday at the very beginning of the summer season. I'm worried. I'm worried about how long the wait times are going to get during Halloween and the Christmas season, because Lightning Lane has got the park bottlenecked up. And therefore, I don't really think that Lightning Lane makes the park that much faster. It just saves you from being punished for not buying the Lightning Lane. This is a very insane long line for this time of year. Imagine when it's the limited edition overlay for the Halloween season. I think this could get out of control.
Hey friends, moving over to Main Street, good news about Sillettas Studio and its return. I featured this in last week's video where I showed you everything that's closed, but according to Disney's website, it looks like they are looking to hire part-time artists that have the skills to work at the Sillettas Studio. Looking at this, I think I'm qualified. Is this what finally makes me an official cast member? One of the reasons why I've been following this shop so much is because I believe this is the type of attention to detail that makes Main Street USA feel real. I love that it's not just disposable merchandise, but a real artisan keepsake, cementing that moment in time and that visit to Disneyland. Friends, it's summer season out at the park and it's been pretty busy. And you're feeling that busy season because Toontown's closed for families and little ones, Finding Nemo's closed, and also Pirates of the Caribbean. This one-eyed patch people eater can do about 3,400 guests every hour. Over 35,000 people a day can go on this attraction. That's a lot of people to move around. Looking back a couple of weeks ago, we can see they'd laid the base level of cement, which got me worried because here lately there's been lots of interesting concrete textures they've been randomly putting around the resort. But 2 weeks later, we can see they've actually laid the stone over that base level. Speaking of weird textures, let's move over to Blue Bayou, where you can see you can now walk the plank if you were to come out of Pirates of the Caribbean. Once again, no reason to stress out, because if we go back to early in June, this similar wood planking was put over next to the perfumery. But when I went the next week, that had been replaced and actual cement had been there. So even though this seems a little shoddy, this is actually just a placeholder for good things to come. Creative problem solving. And if you're a member of the Sidewalk Gang, then you'll remember that there was this big wood box that was sitting between Embarcadero and Little Mermaid. And this box was actually giving me a lot of hassles. It was talking smack to me. But the big box is gone, and now we can see that there's this square of concrete in its place, which tonally is off from the different concrete around it. It's becoming a real patchwork of textures as you walk around the resort. But the best way that I know we're really in the midst of the summer season is that this project that started at the beginning of June of the Seaside Souvenirs, this is pretty much the only project that's happening outside of those major ones like Pirates and Toontown. But as far as little maintenance projects, this is basically the only one that's happening right now inside of both parks. That's a sure sign that we're in the midst of the summer season because all they're doing right now is focusing on the guests. Hey, I kind of predicted this wild observation, right? I said that the sheet wall was up because they were going to do a Christmas in July celebration.
What's up, Tony?
Do you remember the ghost of Christmas past? The sheet wall haunting both Plaza Point Holiday Shop and whatever stores next door. Well, it's gone away, and here we have a new display that is inside the hallway, which was kind of a pretty conservative little hallway patch in the two. We have another Christmas tree, which I'm always a fan of catching a Christmas tree out of season, and shout out to them big bulbs. But up there to the left, you see Hanukkah, moving over to Kwanzaa, Christmas on the shelf line. It is all holidays, and I'm all here for it. Using this midpoint to celebrate and tell everybody, hey, guess what? The holidays are coming back to the Disneyland Resort. Let us know all about the different treats and events that are coming. And I'm so excited because Christmas at the Disneyland Resort is when you take magic. And what do you add to it? More magic. The best time in the year to come out. And this year, between June 23rd and June 30th, that's this week, you can even get some Christmas treats in downtown Disney. Or maybe get a specialized ornament that says, hang in there, buddy. You only got 6 more months to go. You can make it, friend. You can make it. And she can make it too. The custom ornaments are available all year long at Plaza Point. This is something you got to take advantage of. And the Festival of the Holidays is coming. I cannot wait. Holiday version of Small World, the holiday parade, and the song that keeps on going and going and going. It's all coming, and it's only 6 months away. I'm in love, and I don't care who knows. Christmas is coming again to Disneyland.
Friends, I know sometimes it's easy to complain because the park is just so different than what it once was, and there's some management decisions that I don't quite agree with, but I can tell you this. I am so excited that the World of Color Christmas show is coming back because standing here on the bridge, the moment that Nat King Cole shoots off the Christmas soundtrack that lights up this entire pavilion, it is so awesome to hear Christmas music at that volume. Like, I have a smile on my face right now just thinking about it, getting to see it for the first time since 2019. I could literally come here every night through November and December and just listen to the Christmas soundtrack. Sometimes I'll sit way over on the other side where I can't even see the show, but I just want to hear that Christmas soundtrack at that crazy, crazy loud volume. I love the holidays, and I'm so excited that the World of Color Christmas show is coming back. Like, damn, I cannot wait.
I'm so pumped. All right, friends, let's step out of the park, but don't worry, we'll be back in the parks in a second. But let's step over to downtown Disney, where this week these new topiaries popped up all up and down downtown Disney, embracing Disneyland's commitment to inclusion, such as this Pride topiary that we see out in front of Wonderground. And then this one is very interesting. If you look at all these little tags, it really ranges through something that could describe any one of us. And I love looking at all the different little flags and what they say, because it really does symbolize how everybody that comes to the Disneyland Resort is somebody different. And sure, we have things that bond us, such as our race, our religion, our preferences of who we are as a person. And whereas Disneyland was a little one-dimensional in its past on who it chose to celebrate, it's fun to see now that it is really going out of its way to celebrate all the different various citizens of Disneyland. As an artist, what spoke to me the most, though, were these oversized succulents that it looks like they've possibly painted. I think that these are absolutely fabulous, and something like this would look wonderful inside of Tomorrowland. But yeah, we'll get to that in a minute because Tomorrowland just can't ever seem to figure it out. My only complaint would be that they should have either made more of these so they could put them back to back so that you wouldn't see the backside of the topiaries, or possibly put bushes on the backside. And is this empty because it's broken or because we're in a drought? Because it's hard to tell. Some people say, hey, they can't do this because we're going through a drought. But then they do crazy things like refill the lagoon or bring back World of Color. And I'm not a florist by any stretch, but I'm pretty sure most of these are artificial flowers. This particular one, symbolizing peace with the olive branch, I thought was very striking, and it was fun to see something displayed over these two water fountains in this area. Between the fountains, we saw a celebration of Africa, the motherland, believed to be the birthplace of the human race. I cannot wait to read your comments below. I laugh because I read comments all the time about what people think about Princess and the Frog taking over Splash Mountain, and it's ridiculous. It really makes me look at the park a different way. So these moments where they celebrate unity and inclusion, it does make me very, very excited. For example, this huge piece right here that has all these different flags celebrating all these different places around the world. It reminds you that when we come to Disneyland, we really do become citizens of Disneyland. It doesn't matter if you're from America, California. When you're at Disneyland, you're a citizen of Disneyland. And I love all of you all the same. I'm the type of person that gets choked up in Small World, and I just wish that the rest of the world could be like Small World. Now, this is the way that I come into the park every week. This is like breaking news for me. This is the sidewalk gang that really affects me, because as I do my loop, I start out at the Mickey and Friends parking structure, and then I come through the Disneyland Hotel to see what's new in all of the hotels before I actually even go into downtown Disney. So I was interested to see that this little sidewalk that I bet hardly anyone ever walks down is fully ripped up and torn out. And I have to tell you why I'm so impressed with this, because the roots of all those trees were starting to break that sidewalk. And it was getting dangerous to walk down it. Lots of big lips to trip on. All right, last week when I was over here filming, there was tape all around Goofy's Theater. I'm not really sure what they did new to it. I just know that it was all taped off when I was filming Steakhouse 55. And hey, thank you for not leaving small children unattended, or thank you for leaving them at home. Just joking, just joking. The coffee house over at the Disneyland Hotel is one of those restaurants that's running on a weird schedule. They're only open in the mornings, and if you're somebody like me that loves to rip coffee all day long, if I was poolside, I'd want to come over here and be able to get me a nice cold coffee to sit back by the pool. And speaking of trying to relax at the Disneyland Resort, there was a massive celebration that was being laid out around the chapel. But I'm warning you, it's a bad time to be over there celebrating or doing anything because there's so much construction noise. If we look back to the 9th, you can see how this tower was growing. And now when we come to today, it's gotten already much bigger. So for this huge event that was laid out, I was wondering, do they pause the construction and they set up everything while the workers are over there? Or do they actually have the construction while people are trying to celebrate? Over in the Disneyland parking lots, there's this project where I believe what they're doing is they're building a sample room of what's going to be at the DVC towers. Back on May 26th, we could see they started to install that yellow weatherproofing in an area that showed us that there's a taper in there, like the corner suites will be in the new DVC tower. You can now see the entire model is wrapped around in that yellow weatherproofing. But once again, construction here has stopped. But I've been noticing from the Mickey and Friends parking structure an enormous amount of building materials that have been sitting out there since the beginning of June. Now moving up to June 24th, you can see even more building materials have arrived, even though the building has seemed to come to a stop. Downtown Disney project is completely dead. There is nothing that has happened there for the entire month of June. Going back to May 26th, that's when the gate was left open and I was able to walk up to the edge of the gate. No, I didn't trespass, citizen of Disneyland, but that day in May 26th was the start of seeing no working, and I haven't seen any work since. So over a month, it has been completely a standstill over here. And the monorail closes when the temperatures get to be around 85 degrees. It was 90 yesterday. So the Disneyland monorail was currently unavailable, which meant I didn't get any monorail views, but man, oh man, nothing is happening over there. But where something was happening was over at the Star Wars Trading Post. There was an artist signing. Folks were waiting in line to meet Ashley Eckstein, who is from my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. And as you know, does the voice for Ahsoka in the animated Disney projects, and also runs her own clothing line called Her Universe, which had one of the longest lines I saw at Star Wars Celebration. I talked to a very nice gentleman who's a watcher of this channel, and he told me that he and his daughter got here very, very early to stand in line. The Disney cast members came up to them and said, "We're cutting off the line. You should get out of the line because you're not going to make it. We've already realized how many people will be able to meet Ashley, and you're too far in line to get to meet her." And they left pretty disappointed after already waiting a long time in line. I really hate when things like this aren't managed properly. Either have a set amount of guests that you allow to meet the talent and hand out tickets, and after the tickets, hey, you can't even get in line because it's not going to happen. We've already given out all the tickets we're going to give out today. Or have somebody standing next to the talent managing people to make sure they don't overstay their welcome. Some fans just don't know when it's time to walk away and give up the turn to somebody else. And I can only imagine as a parent how it's probably disappointing when you see your kid not to get to meet the celebrity they wanted to. But to the person that told me this, good on him, because they returned their ears.
I can't hear y'all. We can go wherever, so let's do it now and never. Never too far. The way we are.
These are those moments that I love capturing in the park. Just seeing one of the characters going nuts, having a good time, entertaining everybody. Whatever they're paying Clarabelle, it's not enough money for the magic that she was creating for everybody around her that day.
Hey, I'm levitating.
Those are the little moments that I just love capturing, because those are the moments when the park is its most magical. Just a little surprise, nothing fancy, nothing too expensive to produce, just a little bit of old-fashioned Disney magic. Like this, taking away the F-15 in exchange for a wall full of bushes. Yes, now that is Disney magic. Green Bush Wall, coming to Disney Plus this August. An area that I'm just fascinated about is what's happening over at the Hyperion Theater, as well as Marvel's Avengers Campus. The seating, the way that everything's constantly getting arranged every week is fascinating. These little partitions were put up since the last time I was here 2 weeks ago, sort of taking the Hyperion Theater area and dividing it into parts. One area for the PIM Test Kitchen Field Research Center, very clever name, where you can sit over here and eat in the shade. And then they're keeping the back space open. I'm not exactly sure why, but I do love that there's this theming over here of oversized items. And now the Avengers Campus chairs that are outside of the HQ seemed that nobody wanted to sit there because they were completely dead in the sun. But I did talk to a cast member, and I owe some people an apology. They did indeed work on the concrete work there. I'm never too embarrassed to admit when I'm wrong. I couldn't tell that this concrete work, these hexes, were any different than the hexes on the other side of the gate. But a cast member did tell me they did indeed work on the concrete there, and the reason why you can't sit there is they're working on a permanent shade structure that will get built over there. It can't happen fast enough because now these new tables and chairs popped up. And even though all of the planners are essentially a hidden bench that you can sit on, all of the tables and chairs popping up everywhere around Avengers Campus is just making it look pretty junky, and pretty junky 1 year in. Hopefully that canopy will solve a lot of these problems. Cars Land Radiator Springs last week celebrated its 10-year anniversary inside of DCA. I was excited to see that the Cozy Cone fountain is back to working, a little bit sloppier than normal. As you remember, last time the water was drained, the fountain that's actually shaped like a cone, it doesn't seem like it's totally working just perfectly, but I do think that this is such a fun little feature to put in front of the Cozy Cones, which is already a beautiful location. You can also now get a photo with Guido, who popped up next to the sign at Rollickin' Roadsters. Not a lot going on for the celebration. There's artwork around this little control box that exists outside of Astro Orbiter, but is this project really ever going to happen?
Disney, what happened? What happened? I thought the future was going to be full of all these retro colors and look like a world fair. Are you leaning into the fact that the future looks dystopian and everything's brown and burnt up and dead looking? Come on, man. We come here to get away from COVID and monkeypox. And now you're making the flower beds all depressing? Come on, man. I told you don't spend any money on Tomorrowland. Just let it completely rot and decay and go away. But you did spend money and you still did it wrong? Come on. This looks horrible. This looks like my neighbor that never mows his yard. I don't know. This is a wild design. By the way, I just did a video on the D23 predictions that I have that are all very, very conservative, they're all what I believe set in a very realistic mindset. And when you look at this comp art here and what we actually got, think to yourself, does this look like a Disney corporation that's ready to make some money moves? Oh yeah, they're gonna make money moves that save them money. They're not ready to spend it.
And friends, speaking of Tomorrowland, there are some little band-aids that are being put on it because most of it's not functional. It's just all relics of the past. And I know that this is a huge problem. But to Disney's credit, they are trying to do a couple of little easy fixes. Over at the Tomorrowland Terrace, which is a beautiful design by Rolly Crump, they are doing a Stitch dance party. Now, I didn't see it happen, but what I did see is that the stage is now back to lowering and rising up when there's an event. And I love that little fun fact about Tomorrowland. That there is a utilidor that goes from Launch Bay over to the stage. There's not a lot of them out here. There's some around the hotels. This one in Tomorrowland. But I love that there's a little fun fact that people can just kind of go through a tunnel and pop up there. Now, a very interesting move is the Lightyear meet and greet. I didn't get to meet Lightyear, but I am very confused on my emotions. Am I excited that he's a face character, or do I think he should be a sculpted character? I really can't figure it out. I think I lean towards he should have been a sculpted character because it just kind of feels weird, like a guy just wandered in a spacesuit. But hey, that wasn't going to stop me from celebrating and taking some pics. What's this? What? No way! Because, oh my, they're gonna turn Space Mountain into Lightyear Mountain. And you know why I know this? Because it's in the movie. And if it's in the movie, it has to be true. That's why I'm also here to tell you, talking cats. Talking cats are coming to Disneyland. You know why? It's in the movie. And if it's in the movie, it has to be true. Bow down to your feline overlords.